It's time for your favorite game show, Challenge the Clergy.
Welcome to Challenge the Clergy, the game show where there are no right answers, only opinions, because that's Judaism. I'm your host, Seth Front. You know the contestants, so let's begin. Today's question comes from a viewer in Lincoln, Nebraska, who writes, "There's the story of Hillel and Shammai teaching all of Torah to a man standing on one foot. Imagine you have 1 minute to convey the essence of Judaism to someone, and that's all they'll ever know about our religion. What do you tell them?" Let's start with Cantor Jackie Rafi.
What a great question. So we all celebrated Passover a couple weeks ago, right? And we read that after the Israelites fled from Egypt and the miracle of the parted sea, and they crossed and they were saved and they were free, Miriam and the women danced with their timbrels. So our sages asked this question: how did they know to pack timbrels of all things, right? There was no time for the bread to rise. They were in a rush. They had just experienced this trauma of slavery. What were they thinking to pack the timbrels? And Rashi, in his commentary on Exodus, says that the righteous women in that generation were confident that God would perform miracles for them. So they had hope that one day they were going to celebrate. They had faith in Moses's telling them that there will be a miracle, we will be free, and we will reach the promised land, and we will one day celebrate. And this hope, this faith is so inherent in our tradition. It's such a part of what has kept our people alive, and it can really help us in times of darkness, like right now in this pandemic. We need hope to keep us going. So my sentence to convey Judaism is: pack your timbrels.
Pack your timbrels. That's a good one. Rabbinic intern Hana Estrin, your turn.
And I think, Cantor Jackie, that it is very much you because it comes with music. So it's very, very appropriate. I like the idea of dancing, but I'm going to go a little bit wider, and I'm going to say that my one thing would be Tiyu Kedushim. You should be holy. But I'm not going to read it the way the rabbis usually read it. I'm going to read it in a slightly different way because that is what I do best. And say, what does it mean to be holy? It means to find the holiness within yourself, find the godliness within yourself, and then to bring your best self to everything that you do. So, you, Kedushim.
Very good. Rabbi, your turn.
Two fine answers. I'm surprised because I thought that one of you would have said Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, and that was going to be my go-to answer, but I came up with a different answer, so that'll be for another question one day. But I have a problem with the question, Seth. You said if we have only 1 minute to give an answer. As a rabbi, you should know that there's no such a thing as 1 minute. It's impossible for me to give a 1 minute answer. In fact, just in this introduction to the answer, I've already spent more than a minute telling you that I can't give you an answer in a minute. So
Your time's up.
And that's the message of Judaism.
No. So honestly, here is my answer. Ayeka hineni.
Which means?
Oh, you want explanation now? That's going to take you more than a minute. I'm sorry. Now you're going to have to sit and listen to my sermon. Ayek is the very first question that God asks to human beings in the Torah. And the question is to Adam and Eve: where are you after they committed their sin of eating from the fruit of the tree, or blaming each other, or blaming God? And what God was looking for is the response that other patriarchs and matriarchs of ours has given. And that answer is Hineni. Here I am. And that's what God is asking of humanity in general, and Jews in particular. Hineni, here I am, God, to respond to the needs of the person in front of me, the needs of the world. And it's through Torah and mitzvot that I learn how to respond Hineni as a Jew. Ayeka, Hineni. The rest is commentary.
Very good.
Wow.
Three clergy members, 3 different answers. To me, that's the essence of Judaism. Okay,
Yeah.
the next question comes from a little closer to home, from Canoga Park, California. A viewer writes, we're all sheltering at home right now. What are you binge watching? Rabbinic intern Hana Estrin, go ahead.
Well, yeah, no TV. So I'm afraid that I can't say that I've been binge watching anything, but I have been feeling a little left out and might consider getting Netflix at least long enough to watch a couple of shows like Unorthodox and Shtisel and Ellie Cohen, all the Jewish stuff.
You have no TV? What are you doing? Chopping wood?
Oh, maybe.
Rabbi?
Well, last night, Carol and I started watching a show. I had just finished a couple weeks ago watching The Office, which I had never seen. That was fantastic. And I recommend Some Good News by John Krasinski on YouTube. But the show that we started watching last night, which is an old show, but the first 2 episodes were excellent, Friday Night Lights. So if any of you missed that show about a small town in Texas wrapped around the importance of their football team winning, the characters are excellent, and the show seems to be one that's going to draw us in for many weeks to come.
Cantor Jackie?
So Lev and I have recently become obsessed with watching the show. It's called SCHITT''S Creek, which is a last name.
How do you pronounce that, Jackie? I'm not a good speller.
I think it's shite.
No,
Shites
I don't think so.
It's Schitt's Creek.
You'll beep that out after, right?
That's the last name of the family, right?
Yes, it's the last name of the family.
And
Wait,
what's
Seth,
the story? Yeah.
Seth, Jackie can't answer that question until I hear her name the show.
No, I'm not gonna do it. It's Creek. Shh.
It's Creek.
It's Creek.
Very funny show from Canada.
A very funny show from Canada, starring Eugene Levy and Dan Levy, who are real life father and son, and their fathers and son in the show as well. And his daughter's also in the show as a different character. But it is so funny. It's like 20 minutes long. So you can get an episode in really quickly, and it's just so good. I'm finding laughter to be so essential at a time like this, and it really just brings delightful laughter. And there's some good music in the show too.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you have a question, feel free to email us at info@stsonline.org, and we'll see you next time on Challenge the Clergy. Good night.